Welcome to another episode of Week in Review from CitizenCitadel. We've got a slightly shorter show this week with 9 topics including 3.1.4, this week's BritizenCon, and the upcoming CitizenCon. It's a ton of content to cover, so let's get started. First off, at number 9, we have the 3.1.1 update. 3.1.1 was quite a small patch overall, patching 3 client crashes, 9 server crashes, 2 fatal errors and a memory leak. It was only a small update with bug fixes and changes, no major feature upgrades, but it was useless nonetheless. Anything that stops the game crashing is a good update in my book. Then we had 3.1.4 released to the PTU. Again, we weren't expecting another patch this soon, so it was quite a surprise when it got released this week. The first bug to be addressed was to fix the 2 users being able to spawn in the same easy hab. As you can see, I've had this happen to myself quite a number of times. Next, IFCS has been refactored and should be more stable. I haven't had much chance to test this yet, so we're not too sure how effective the changes are, but as the week goes on, it'll be tested more, and hopefully we'll see the results by next week. Gravlev Hover also got some updates this week to make it more stable and perform a bit more naturally. As always, 2 fatal errors were fixed and 1 memory leak so far, but we're only in the B revision at the moment, so we're likely to see more bug fixes and changes as the week goes on. At number 8, we've got ship sales. The 100i is still on sale with LTI if you're looking to pick one up, though this is the last weekend to get it, so do so while you can. The starter ships are still on sale, but only for a few more days. If you're looking to join the game or add a new starter package, grab yours while they're cheap, and don't forget to use a referral code for 5000 AUEC. I'll link mine in the video description. At number 7, we have the roadmap update. Development seems to be picking up pace this week, with mining moving to 45% complete, a 21% increase on last week. Flight AI also gained 29%, and the item kiosk shopping gaining 10%. A couple of items on the roadmap lost a little bit of progress this week, as their tasks were fleshed out. Economy polish was the worst affected at 2% loss, so it likely won't cause a huge delay. 3.2 gained almost nothing this week, with Lawville checking off an extra task, bringing it up to 44%, which is an increase of 6%, but the rest stops added 5 new tasks and completed only 2, bringing a total loss of 6%, which brings our overall progress for the week to 0. On the other hand, we gained a new weapon in 3.2, adding the HRST laser repeater. And that's all for the roadmap this week. At number 6, we have our summary of BritizenCon. BritizenCon was another busy event with plenty going on. We'll quickly overview some of the questions and clarifications made by the devs at the panels. First, it was clarified that mining is coming in 3.2, but only for planetary bodies. Asteroids in space won't be mineable as of 3.2, CRG are currently working on the visual cues for mining, and progress is going well. The only ship that will be able to mine in 3.2 is the MISC Prospector, so if you don't have one, now would be a good time to think about picking one up. Mining lasers can damage ships and people, but might not be very effective. They're not designed to be weapons, but they can be used as such in an emergency. Continuing this week's update on Squadron 42, we found out decisions that you make in S42 will carry over into episodes 2 and 3 and the Persistent Universe. Episode 1's development is in full swing, and episodes 2 and 3 are in pre-production. It was hinted that the Squadron 42 roadmap may be coming to the CRG website sooner rather than later, but we don't have a specific date in mind. CRG also mentioned that they're looking to allow players to melt Voyager Direct purchases in 3.2 and have the starting UEC in our account be our starting AUEC for every patch. This means that for those of you that have purchased UEC, or got it with a Kickstarter or other backer pledge, you may see your starting AUEC in each patch being higher. 3.5 is planning to bring more biome diversity for planets. For example, Hurston has a trash biome which is full of scrap. Exploration gameplay is planned to be expanded in the future, being able to discover new locations, but also having tasks and activities to perform in existing discovered locations. This includes finding items, research, tracking, etc. That's all on BritizenCon. If you want to hear more or see the dev panels live, videos should be going up shortly with the full recording, so go ahead and check them out. At number 5, we have lore content. This week gave us the thrilling conclusion to the Cup series, a look behind the scenes of the Murray Cup race and its winner. It's a must-read for any of you racing fans, giving a thrilling recollection of this prestigious race. This week gave us the final instalment of the 3-part series, so now is definitely the time to check it out if you've been holding out. I'll link it in the video description for those of you who want to check it out. At number 4, we have this week's Around the Verse. This week's focus was based on progress for Squadron 42, however much of the tech is similar and will see its way into the persistent universe. There are a number of updates, mostly based around game tech. Firstly, the glass shader had some work, with more convincing damage states and the ability to use frosted glass. It's also been modified to allow the glass to show no reflections, which will come in especially useful on ship canopies and helmets. UI screens, helmets and terminals can all now be realistically smashed and shattered for a more immersive experience. VFX have been working on interference for screens within the ship. This will play a big role in S42, such as static storms, giving elemental gameplay. The Idris has had some tweaks to accommodate for the extra crew that have been added to the ship. This includes new pilots' quarters, which are nicer than the general crew quarters, but not as nice as the captain's quarters. The Shubin mining area has had quite a lot of work also, now representing a huge facility which acts as a pivotal part of S42 gameplay. You may recognise it from the monorail system shown in last month's ATV. A new inspect system has been added for weapons, allowing you to have a good look at any weapon you might be carrying. It centres the weapon on screen and allows you to rotate it in all angles in a realistic looking way. Progress has been made on some Vandal weapons and design guides. There's no sign of any Vandal characters yet, but what we've seen from weapons so far has been very impressive. CIG reiterated that every character in-game has their own backstory and life, and they will interact with you based on that. If you've been nice to them, they will want to talk to you, but if you're mean, they might avoid you. Your choices in the game will affect how the characters respond to you. They'll respond based on their personality. For example, if they disagree with one of your actions, they may tell you. One of the challenges currently being faced is working with the AI. As the characters are fully AI controlled and have their own lives, they need to make their way to the missions and through the mission while being AI controlled, instead of being scripted. This is something they're currently working on, and will add a real unique element to gameplay. That's all for ATV this week. We got a good look at Squadron 42 progress, and hopefully we'll see the roadmap make its way to the website soon. At number 3, we've got Reverse the Verse. For you Carrack fans out there, Jared hinted that we might have some news in next week's Around the Verse, so be sure to come back and check it out. We'll also get a look at the Anvil Hurricane, so it's definitely not one to miss. CIG confirmed the only major remaining tech feature that isn't on the roadmap is travel between planetary systems, for example, Crusader to Stanton. This isn't there yet, as it's waiting on both Object Container Streaming and Stanton to progress further before it is planned and added to the roadmap. But this is an encouraging sign that the core tech is progressing very well. CIG also mentioned that multi-user animations are also being planned, though not on the short-term roadmap. This will allow things such as high-fiving other users and interacting with other players. It's definitely planned, but it could be a while till we see it make its way into the live game. Long hair and beards are also planned and will be coming out at some point in the future. The tricky points are gravity and wind affecting the hair, and how to make these work correctly. There are some issues with the way that wind currently works in the game, and CIG have moved to a new unified wind system, but it could take a while for this change to make its way through the systems. CIG have also planned the ability to customize animations for your character. This will allow your character to have a signature style in the way that you talk, walk, and perform activities. This all pushes towards the goal of having a fully custom character in a truly diverse universe. Finally, it was confirmed that in the future you will be able to emote while moving. The emote system is constantly being fleshed out and new features added, but it is planned to allow you to perform actions such as signalling while you're moving. Moving on to number 2, we've got CitizenCon 2948. This week saw the announcement for this year's CitizenCon. It'll be held at the Long Center in Austin, Texas on the 10th of October, with tickets starting at $87 and the premium tickets costing $130. Previous CitizenCons have been highly successful and very interesting, so if you do live nearby, it's well worth the trip. I live in the UK, but I'm still going to try my best to get there. No doubt it will be a fantastic experience for all. And finally, at number 1, we have the community overview. This week, CIG announced another screenshot competition, prompting players to post their best combat pictures in exchange for the chance to win an Intel Optane 900p. As such, there's been tons of combat this week, with plenty of PvP and PvE action in the verse. I've had my share of dogfights in orbit around Yella, and I'm sure the next few days will be full of similar action. That's all from me for this week. Please like if you liked the video, drop a comment letting me know what you thought, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content. I read all of the comments and I love interacting with you guys, I love your feedback, and it's really helpful for me to help plan these videos in the future. I'll see you guys in next week's episode of Week in Review.